All right, welcome back to the Good Morning Naija show. And I believe, say, if you don't dare with us, you can say we just finished our newspaper review and our top story segment earlier. And for those of us now, we contribute on the show, we say we thank you and appreciate you every time as you are doing this. Well, we're moving on to the next segment. And this is, I promised you a conversation that's very, very, very insightful. For those of us who would like get involved in spoken words. You know, you like to be a poet. We're going to be talking to someone very exceptional in the industry, and his name is Sage Hassan. He is a writer, a poet, a life coach, and he has a lot of other great accolades on his belt. Welcome, sir.
Morning.
Good morning. How's everything? Yes. So, as we always do on the show, we ask you genuinely, how are you? We want to know because we know we're in a pandemic. We always like to ask, how are you?
Now, wow. Is it English I'm going to speak or pidgin?
Anyone, as they go.
I tell you, this pandemic, na emotion pandemic. This year, when they catch person sometime, you go do like say they cough, you go do like say you get some issues, but we have had a good time chilling at home, recalibrating our life, and rethinking our thinking even. So far, so good. I am good. I'm grateful, and I'm looking forward to a brighter future.
So, as it is, do you think that this would be the new normal, or do you think we're going to ever go back to the way it was before?
Amen. No, we need to get back to as close as possible. I believe in evolving culture, because culture is a living, breathing aspect of living. Culture is not dead. So I know that we are going to be improving our culture. So I think that this is an opportunity to let me borrow the same word, recalibrate our cultural understanding of life, and then maybe ingeniously create a new way to interact, to socialize. But we will never stop being social beings. It's not possible though.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that 1 or 2 cents, and that because we always like to ask, as people they really take this whole situation. So maybe we even talk about spoken words as it is. Let's talk about spoken words, and seeing that you've been doing this for quite some time. It has become a part of you. So we're looking at spoken word as a career, because a lot of times some people say, okay, I know how to put words together. Can I make spoken word a career? Or I like to listen to people speak. Is that, the way I can get into this career and be lucrative at it? So we want to have the conversation from someone who has been in this industry and has been professional and has been, harnessing the industry. How has it been for you, and how do you think someone can actually get involved in this?
Spoken word is a hill. It's a difficult hill to climb. It is not the easiest art form. It's not the easiest career to decide to follow. So you're going to have a heart. You're going to have a passion. Why did I come into spoken word? It was because I knew without a doubt that I would not be fulfilled if I failed to take that leap. And that's why I jumped in. I came in deciding that it wouldn't matter the outcome. It wouldn't matter the hunger, the suffering, the distrust, the abuse that will come. I was going to face it and do it. So first of all, you have to be like a Spartan. You have to decide that you're a warrior with words. Your weapons, your bullets are words, and you're going to do this because you understand who you are. So spoken word is not the easiest art form, it's not the easiest thing to pursue. But I'm going to tell you this, in the last 15 or 20 years, it has grown tremendously. It has become more economically viable, more financially rewarding. It has not gotten to the state where I would have really preferred, but we're getting there. And one thing I realized about spoken word is spoken word, for every poet, spoken word should be one outlet. You're supposed to have a hand of 5 fingers. Spoken word is going to just be one outlet. You can write a book or books. You can make CD or CDs. You can try to do stage plays where the dialogue is in rhyme or is lyrical in poetry. There's so much other stuff you can do. You can even be an actor. I know so many poets in America who are acting in films. You know, you can be a public speaker. So there's so much more you can do with poetry. You have to consider spoken word as the foundation, as the fist. But then when you open up your hand, the 5 fingers shoot out. And then you can have like 5 multiple streams of income or multiple expressions of your art connected to one hand. That's my advice for the people who want to do spoken word at this point in time. But then, yes, you're going to have to, you know, have a love for the artistic expression, relay of thought. You want to say something, but you want to say it beautifully. You know, that's just, I think, is fundamental and foundational to this thing what we do for y'all.
So you would say, for you you've been in this for quite some time, how does it come for you when you want to write or, you know, put up a poem? How do you get your inspiration? Is it that is it always personal experience? Is it situations around you? How does it work for you?
See, I'm an abstract poet. I am an abstract poet. My poems are quite abstract, quite a lot. And for abstraction, what drives you is philosophy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
What drives you is philosophy. You know, it is the ethos. It is the principles. It is the understanding of culture, of society, of spirituality, of existence that is running your OS, that now makes you, that comes out in this artistic form. So for me, how do I do the poetry? Sometimes I'm just sitting down and then my mind will go through a whirlwind of emotion. It just be rattling, rumbling. Sometimes it is sad, sometimes it is angry, sometimes it is happy, sometimes it is sexual, sometimes it is spiritual. And then a word will pop up. 1 word or 2 words or phrase will pop up. And when that happens, you know that the poem is calling your name. And you start to answer. And it's like you're pulling water from a well. You know, you hold to the rope and then you're pulling and the words are coming and they're coming, and finally the bucket comes out and your hand is a bucket of water, and that's the poem that you now pour for the rest of the people to enjoy. So that's for me. That's
for you, okay. And it's worked for you so far, looking at how far you have come in the industry.
No, the other way, make I tell you the other way. The other way we say, when company or brand call me, say, write 1 poem between now and tomorrow. I could give you money. I tell you true. You don't go believe I'm poem just come out like it's pam.
So sometimes inspiration.
I tell you money. One day like this, I was doing something for Zane or one of those companies years ago. I write the poem for the event. They say, come and do poem. Now for there, I write the poem. Alibaba was the MC. He was saying, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Sage. I said, they give me 5 minutes, I never finish. Nadia, I write up. Nadia, I do up. At the time, you say, sometimes money get the way to take inspire person. So all that I want to talk about abstract philosophy, that one I for decide. The other one, I want you to pay person something.
Nah, so seeing that you have that, like you made an illustration of a well. So which means say that well supposed get a lot of water where you feel draw from Nabi. Now, the reason why I made that, I'm referring to that now, because as someone who writes poems, you need, is it compulsory or a must that you must know some kind big grammar or words? All those, must you research meaning and, you know, all those kind of things to feed the draw from this well of words where you go get?
Waiting they destroy poetry. Now big words. Waiting they promote pop music. Now simple words. Now communication and understanding. Yes. Forget the big words. Poetry is not in words. Poetry is in emotion. Let me tell you something. one day, I was rehearsing my poetry in the house, in the room. I had a show. I was very loud. And I had a deaf and dumb neighbor who happened to come into the house at that time. So I left him in the sitting room and I went to the bedroom to be rehearsing. As I was just rehearsing very loudly, I didn't expect him to hear. This deaf guy ran into the room, was just jumping and shouting and looking at me. I said, okay, now listen. I didn't understand. Then we had phones then, so he typed for me that, am I rapping? I said, how would you know? He said, you could hear the vibration of the sound on the wall. And the way the thing was hitting the wall, it was musical enough to excite him in the sitting room. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it, that he couldn't hear anything, but he felt the energy. And that is what the poem is. Don't worry about big words. Be bothered about energy, my brother. Find the energy. Bring them, come out. Release them. People will not remember what you said 10 years from now, but people will remember how you made them feel 50 years from now. They will remember that when I meet that guy, that's how I feel. What didn't talk, honestly, I don't remember, but I know how he made me feel. So it is about the energy, it's about the emotion, it's about the feeling.
Because the reason why I asked that one, because a lot of young poets, they come out and sometimes they feel, say, the poets we don't did there before them, they expect them to come in with big grammar to show, say, you dey intelligent. You understand? If you want make sentence, if you don't put one big word inside, you not sure, say, you don't do your research well. But as you they talk this one, so say, now the big grammar, they kill poetry.
That's what kills it.
I believe, say, now it's new to some people now. They go look and like say, but not be waiting our teachers they expect from us.
If they read Maya Angelou, now very simple poems, very simple things she writes. You know, the thing about communication and poetry is you need to take into cognizance the society where you did, the environment where you did, which kind language they talk, what is their everyday conversation. If poetry cannot become everyday conversation, poetry will remain in the ivory tower of universities and in the minds and books of professors. How many professors they for this world? And how many professors say they listen to poetry? How many students they for English department where they fail every time? How many? You know, I want this poetry to reach the mechanic. Make I tell another story. When I do something for one TV station, very simple thing. One day, when I did work for Speed, one mechanic was shouting at me. He was saying, hip, hop, hip, hop. I said, what is wrong with this mechanic? Another time, another person from across the road, they shout my name. They shout, hey, I said, I'm waiting. Then I realized that the simplest poem when I do, the very simplest, now him be the most popular. Now him where people take know me with up till today. I don't believe him. That poem, they embarrass me. But him, people remember. And that poem is 14 or 15 years now. But when people see me, they say, I remember when I saw you do, and they go mention that one. I have 2 poetry albums. I have a book. I have hundreds of poems. I have done hundreds of brand poems for organizations the last 15 years. But the one that everybody remembers, is the one that is paid as if they play like small people.
So as from gathering from waiting you talk now, simplicity now be the main thing when it comes to writing poems. Make them as easy as possible so that people go feel relate.
Yes. You know, if you have that time, you go feel them. Don't be big word be poetry. Now feeling be poetry. How you take those small words where you get, how you put them together, you know, mix them. Now, like, you know, cooking food for hours, you don't get plenty ingredient, but what do you get now in the work? You know, you can't cook Chinese without a Chinese. You cook egusi, you know, as you go take to them. You have to do the thing that is relevant to the people. That's why I think that the next level of poetry in Nigeria might be Pidgin. You know, Pidgin really take it to another level. It will take it to another level.
We believe so too. Now, let's even talk about poetry in Nigeria as a career and how lucrative it is. So far, we know, say, a lot of times, it hasn't been so popularly or generally accepted yet.
Yes.
We still see them as things for the intellectual set of people, the people we know as they go, the elites, now they listen to poem. So how has it been, or what do you feel say be the disconnect where they happen now? The reason why poetry they where it is for Nigeria, what do you feel say be the disconnect?
You know, real art cannot survive outside of patronage. And in Europe, back in the day, during the Renaissance, poets and artists had patrons in kings, in monarchs, in popes, in bishops. That's how poets and artists have been designed to survive, because there is a correlation between poetry, art, and the civilization of a people. So the authority, the people who have the financial wherewithal, the people who have the moral wherewithal, the people who have the political power, have a responsibility to uphold and patronize poets. So in my understanding, what I think poetry needs to have in Nigeria is government. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say that, is government needs to come in. And then secondly, banks and institutions need to come in. It should be corporate social responsibility. Let me tell you something. You can judge the future. You can judge the civilization of the people by listening to the poets that they hear. And it's very odd, but poetry is a distillation of the emotion of your culture. So when you hear the poets, you can tell the kind of people these people are going to be 100 years from now. That's why it's a visionary, it's a futuristic art form that institutions that are benefiting economically from need to jump in. My dream is, I wish every single bank, I wish every single corporation will adopt a particular poetry event, a particular poetry format, and sponsor it with tachere money. Tachere money. If you gather these boys, 10 million, 20 million, 5 million, if all of them they do it, this thing will work fantastic. The way they built the music industry, because let me tell you, the corporate sector built Nigerian music industry.
Yeah.
The way they built the music industry, they will build not just the poetry or the literary, they will build the future of this country. It will change how we think. It will change how we feel. It will change what we create, the societies that we build. Poetry will mathematically align our understanding of life and change how we bring up our children. Make I tell you the truth, but people never know that part yet.
This is interesting. So as it stands now, you believe that the government has a part to play in making sure that poetry becomes a lucrative industry.
Sector,
and the private sector also.
Money, and the people with money. A man with money can just, you know what, how much can I do this when I poetry? 100,000 every month. Okay, I will give you 100,000 every month. How can I organize this poetry event? How many people they come? 30 people, no problem. Take this 100,000. This is my responsibility to art, to society. This is where I'm contributing. As they give money for motherless baby, no be say with motherless baby. As they give money for, to help society, give this money. Find a way to make it tax deductible. If the government they involved, they're going to say, okay, this thing can be made tax deductible so people can support art form. This is what makes society. Art, culture, technology, relationship, society. That's what it is.
I like the fact that you mentioned the music industry, on how the private sector and the government being help the music industry grow.
They built it.
Okay, so speaking about the music industry, there was a time in Nigeria where it was rap music, or it was the foreign music that was in vogue. Yeah, foreign songs were in vogue, but there was a turnaround that that was like about 10, 12 years ago. Then there was a turnaround that now influenced the artists to start creating songs that could be grassrootedly accepted. You understand? So I believe that there was a turnaround from the production style of music. Now I'm heading with somewhere with this question, saying that, don't you think that there's also a turnaround that needs to be done in the kind of poems our poets put out. Maybe like the one you said, you did one poem that was very basic, and that is one of your most popular poems till now. You understand?
It is the most popular.
It's the most popular poem till now, and that was because you took it to the basic level, the grassroots. People could relate with it. So don't you think that as the poets out there need to also have an intentional turnaround to the style of their poems, maybe make it more generally or grassrootsly relatable, so that people on the streets can actually be reciting your poems as as they walk on the streets?
Which is why I know they judge poets. When I see poets, they do poetry, and they get H factor. I'm in my house. Then someone say, you can't say house. I say, no, please let him say house, because the person on the street will hear house and you will connect to it.
Exactly.
When I ask the FIFO, I say, no, he can't say FIFO. I say, no, please let him say FIFO, because there are certain people who are going to recognize him. They won't say, another one going to do poetry, say, na so they do, let him say na so they do. We need to, like I said, make it relatable. Like you just said as well, we have to make our poetry relatable. We have to make it so simple that everybody on the street can say it. And then we do not discount or remove the intellectual one. That one's still there.
Yeah.
That one. But some of us need to come to the streets and do it on the road. You know, want to do it for, let me give you some. When I was doing poetry, there was a time that I was made to do poetry in a nightclub. My friend loves poetry. He owned a nightclub, invited me over. In the middle of the club, he stopped and he said, do poetry. Yes, he said, do poetry. I said, Oga, go inside this Batakot. With these people when I see. He said, do the poetry. So I said, let them play one music. So they played a music that they knew. It was Mobonla Veli Veli. That was also, that was playing music.
Then, yeah.
Then I did a naughty poem that was, what's the word? That was that was similar to the lyrics of the songs that they hear, generally speaking. And those people actually stopped and paid attention and applauded. And after the club, they'll meet me outside and say, man, that was a good one. That was a good one. I didn't believe it. So I realized that all we have to do with poetry is take it to where the people are. I took it to a nightclub. I've taken it to the most incredible places. There's no kind of place I haven't taken poetry to. I've been booed. I have done poetry at the largest stages. I've been booed. Ooh, yeah, beg, come on, everything this one they do. I've gotten that one, no doubt. But I've gotten the most incredible applauses. The most incredible applauses. In Hip Hop Wall Awards 2006, the applause that they gave spoken word poetry that I rendered was the largest and the biggest applause of the night. It's on record, the largest and the biggest applause of the night. Why? I took that poem to them. I did a poem about music and musicians, and those musicians were there, and they could hear their name, and they could hear the sound of the names of their songs, and they could recognize themselves in it, and they were screaming and shouting and clapping. Yeah, look, that's me, that's me. After the show, I would get hugs, they hugged me, and that's the day that this spoken word poetry was born, because suddenly everybody in that sphere knew about it. Everybody wanted something like that. That's what I think we need to do.
Amazing, amazing. So far, it's been a very, very insightful conversation, at least from what you've said. For growing poets, they can take one or two things from this conversation, knowing that we want to make this industry evolve. Then it has to start with the poets themselves, knowing that we will still maintain the intellectual poems, but also see how you can get to connect with the grassroots as well. That way, you know, as they talk, now people where they streets, now they usually even, patronize your markets. Okay, so before you leave us, you said something earlier that there was a time you had to do a poem on the spot, and you were able to write something out to make it work. So maybe we try ask for your permission to give us something very light for the Good Morning Naija show on Wazobia Max TV. You feel do something for us?
Make I read for make I read.
Oh yeah, nah, no wahala.
I don't hold now.
No wahala, please. It go dey okay.
Hold on, no.
All right. We there with you. We there with you. We are with you. We are waiting for you when you are ready, sir. Anytime you are ready, just let us know.
So I'm not a poet. I'm a revolution. When you look at me, what do you see? A word slinger, or soldier with a derringer? Do you see your body or the wimp with a scraggy notebook, pen stuck behind the ear, peering through cloudy glasses at figures scratched on white sheets turned brown from stained fingers thumbing through them? When you look at me, what do you see? Do you see a poet? Or do you peer into the steely stare of a revolution? I am not a poet, I am a revolution. I ride waves like a kid on rollerblades, navigating a sea of humanity in turmoil, tossed and turned by the churning of emotions buried in the collage of potted minds, higher society of religion and dead philosophy. When you look at me, what do you see? Do you see a word slinger or soldier with a derringer singing words of freedom, tingling with thoughts of fire, burning like oil on a body of water, flamed by gaseous air? When you look at me, what do you see? Do you see a poet or revolution? I am not a poet. I am a revolution. I'm the change you seek in the wrong places. I'm the love you find in all the wrong places. I'm the truth that's hidden in all the same wrong places. I see faces with traces of tears, worn by minds torn apart, haggard. I am not a poet. I'm a revolution in ragged mufti, brows creased in furrowed anger, heads wrapped in yellow bandana, military fatigues, Che Guevara t-shirt, leather jacket, and dance shoes. Because I will waltz to the music of the words composed in this poem. And this poem is yet not a poem. It's a revolution. It's change. It's growth. It's war. It's a new beginning. It's life. It's death. It's resurrection. I am not a poet. I am not a poet. I am not a poet. I am.
Wow. Wow, amazing, amazing. I was just blown away by the conversation as it was progressing. And I was hoping that it will go on and on and on and on, but it's very, very nice. That was very exceptional. And thank you very much, Mr. Sami, for being with us on the show today. We appreciate your time, and we thank you for coming to give us your 2 cents on how spoken words can become a career and how people can get involved and how they can make the best of it. We appreciate your time, and we say thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Naija show. All right, guys, we've just been speaking to Sage Hassan. He's a poet, spoken words artist, and he's an exceptional individual. I believe that you can agree with me. After that conversation we get, say, Baba is on point. All right, so we still get another conversation, as I promised Ona earlier. We get another